Agriculture on the move.
Agricole mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement. Good day and welcome to Agriculture on the Move. I am Philip Sidney. Our topic today is Pesticide Awareness Week. The theme, increase food safety, reduce dependency on pesticide, and adopt integrated pest management. A mouthful. But here to discuss this topic is Mr. Cletus Alexander, who is a plant protection officer in the Research and Development Unit in the Department of Agriculture. Welcome to the program, Cletus.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Cletus, I know every year it's a reminder to people, right, as to what is happening as far as pesticide is concerned. Tell us, what are pesticides?
Basically, pesticides are formulations people use to control pests. We tend to classify them into respective areas. For example, you have herbicides will control weeds, you have nematicides will control nematodes, you have bactericides that will control bacteria and so on.
Mm-hmm. But tell me, there are dangers, of course, in the use of pesticides, okay? We talk about, let's talk about the theme. You know, how did that theme come by this year?
Well, every year the Pesticide Boards of the Caribbean, they come up with a theme for Pesticide Awareness Week. Mm-hmm. And this year we are late. Normally it's been held in September. Mm-hmm. Now the theme, increase food safety. As you all know, pesticides, they tend to accumulate in the soil. They get into the water that we drink. So definitely there is a food safety issue concerning pesticide. Mm-hmm. In terms of dependency on pesticides, historically, pesticides were not used before. But because of what has happened, we used to depend on the natural environment to control pests for us. So what has happened, with all the chemicals that we're using, those natural, because the ecosystem used to control the pests, it's natural. So what has happened, the pesticides now, all the beneficial organisms that we had that used to control, give us the pest control. Right now we have destroyed them and we're relying on pesticides to control pests for us. Now the last part of it, IPM, Integrated Pest Management. Integrated Pest Management is basically an ecosystem-based management strategy which focuses on long-term control of pests and diseases. And again, we push in pesticide at last resort. Now, the other control measures that you can use vis-a-vis chemicals are things like using your biological control, improve your cultural practices, and so on.
Yeah, go back to IPM. Give us a little example of IPM.
Well, as I said, the approach is to reduce dependency on pesticides. As you all know, the environment plays a critical role in pest control. If you can integrate all those measures, like your drainage, for example, in banana production, you have problems with black cickatuka. If you can, your drainage to remove the excessive water. If you can prune properly with proper air circulation, if you can use the fertilizer on time, the plants will be stronger, which means, well, they will be able to resist pests and diseases.
So you're talking about agronomic measures.
Yeah, agronomic and, well, it's not agronomical. It's basically, you take a holistic view. All measures that you try them before. If it doesn't work, you use pesticides at last resort.
Well, okay. So in other words, you talk about, okay, like in bananas, you know, for the control of black cickatuka, you can reduce it by having proper drainage.
Yes, because you know the fungus, it's a fungus, it's in water for proper multiplication. Right. So if you can starve it of all the moisture that it's supposed to get, basically you're going to get some better control.
I know in times they have used, when we had the pink millet bug, insecticides were a bit, they were resistant to pest management in terms of insecticides. They used the beetles, etc. Explain.
Well, because basically it's a form of biological control. As I said, we have every pest, every organism has what we call a natural enemy.
Right.
Understand? So when we had a problem with the mealybug, those wasps were introduced into the country. What happened is that they feed on the mealybug, and then by feeding on them, they will not be able to multiply properly.
Correct.
If they cannot multiply, it means well the populations
Will drop.
will be going to drop.
Okay, but is there another side effect too? Maybe the that pest that you introduce can also, after it has destroyed that primary pest, all right, will it not move and cause another problem?
Not necessarily, because before you introduce anything into your country, you're supposed to do what is called a pest risk analysis. So by doing your pest risk analysis, you'll be able to identify any threat out there, and you'll be able to put mitigation measures in place to control whatever is going to happen.
Okay, great. I noticed you're doing, you're having Pesticide Week in November, but it was supposed to be what, in August? September. Yeah. Why the shift?
Well, in the board, in formulation of the board, we constituted the board very late because, as you know, there was no pesticide control board. So when the board took over and planning Pesticide Week, it was the time for planning Pesticide Week was a little short.
Okay.
So we came up with a few activities for Pesticide Weeks. Pesticide Week, those activities we felt that we could manage within the time
frame.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's look at the board. Why is there a board?
Well, pesticides, as you know, pesticides, they seem to cause a problem for us. And you must have some regulation in place to control toxic chemicals and pesticides coming into the country. You have to have a process. Pesticide registration is a process where you have to do your risk assessment, make sure that the pesticides that you're bringing in, they are safe to humans, they are safe to plants, they are safe to animals, and the environment in general.
So what are the processes if I want to bring in a chemical into St. Lucia for use? What's the process?
You're supposed to apply with the research department. There you have you bring in all your information, your dossier control, indicating all the risk that the pesticide will pose to the environment, all the application rates and so on, the LD50. Then you're supposed to research that pesticide to make sure that, as I said, it is safe to the human health, it is safe to environmental health, safe to plant, and safe to animal health. That is very important. You don't want to bring a pesticide and you don't do your proper
risk assessment
check, and then that pesticide is harmful to the environment.
Who guides the board in carrying out the risk assessment?
Well, basically, the risk assessment is done at the research department. Because, as you know, pesticides, it's not in St. Lucia alone. The research pesticides are used. Pesticides are used all over the world. Now you have organizations like the FAO. We take a lot of guidance from the FAO pesticide registration toolkit, where the FAO is not a decision-making tool, but you get all the information in terms of information requirements, whether it is a hazardous chemical, the MRL, the maximum minimum residual limit on those crops. So we tend to take guidance from that regional organization for making the decision as to whether pesticides are safe.
But let us hear this. I know, okay, a chemical is introduced to St. Lucia, all right? A risk assessment is done, okay? But then years down the road, they realize it's a problem, all right? Yeah. The problem that is recognized now, could that not have been recognized before? Before you answer, we are due for a break. You're watching Agriculture on the Move. Stay tuned.
Yon nan se manya pour contrôler maladie sigato kanwe, c'est pour spray épichémique. Il pas bon pour spray diwan la pli et ben si tan mawe et qui ka gade akwedi la pli peut tomber en 3 pour 4 ne di temps parce que la pli kay lave l'huile sprayer. Aussi, il pli meilleur pour spray diwan journée les la pani trop vent chalet et ben les il pas trop mouillé. Le soleil la trop chaud, il ka fait ces feuilles figues là et ben banane la plié et qui ka difficile pour ces feuilles là bien recevoir traitement qui en lait et ben en bas feuilles là. Bon le matin et ben tard l'après-midi, pli meilleur pour spray parce que temps pli fouet ek se feuille la ka ouvert. Changer, le ou ka spray, toujours mettez pli attention à sous ces jeunes feuilles là. Pas spray ces plantes trop, ek faire siwe ou spray toute plantation en yon seul coup. Plant qui manche spray, ça affecte les autres ces plants bien à l'aise.
Pour plus d'informations à sous manière pour traiter et contrôler maladie cigatocanoué à sous plantation et bien jardin ou ça téléphoner département pour ménager cigatocanoué à numéro 45-54-9 et bien 45-58-94 et bien email yo à bpmu@candw.lc. Commission Salak a sorti Hod Ministère de l'Agriculture ensemble avec Fonds Coopération Internationale et Développement Hod Pays République la Chine Taïwan.
Welcome back. Cletus, you know, when we ended the first section of the program, I remember asking you concerning pesticides that are coming in, which are supposed to go through a process, all right? But somewhere down the line, as happened before, I remember years ago with the Nimogon and the Fumazone that was used in bananas. Those are harsh chemicals, and there were side effects for humans and I suppose animals too. And they were pulled back. But then pulling it back did not prevent the damage. The damage was done. So how do you all, in your assessment, you all cannot identify those damages that probably would happen down the road?
Well, the science is not always right. Sometimes you may approve a pesticide and then down the line you realize, well, it's problematic. And research is continuing.
That's right.
Now, whenever new information come in about a pesticide, it is considered. If you realize, well, yes, you may have approved it, but that information, that latest information was not there before you. Right now, some researcher has come up with that. Definitely, there is need for review. As a matter of fact, the board has the right to review any pesticide, recall anytime they want.
Okay. So, Heather, so if the damage is caused, say it has affected human beings, it has get you infertile, men infertile, impotent, you know, in other words. So, is there a compensation by the company?
Well, for now, the board, we don't compensate anybody for being affected by pesticide. What we probably recommend is that make sure that you use all the precautionary measures when using pesticide to make sure that that chemical does not get into your body. As you know, well, the pesticide can get into our body by different means. You can inhale it, you can through drinking water, through our skin and so on. So it's very important that.
Yeah, I understand, but I'll come to that. But the point I'm making is, I know recently there was this guy who brought Monsanto to court, and he won $289 million. Exactly. Now I'm asking here, I'm not saying the bodies will be responsible for payment, you know, but I'm saying if something like that happens, okay, with another chemical, all right, will the board recommend to the company or whatever, to the person that got affected for compensation?
Well, the board cannot recommend because, as I said, the board will depend on other agencies to do the research to make sure that that person was affected by whatever claim that the person has. So the board will not compensate anybody for.
I know, I understand that. Yes. But they can stop the use of the chemical.
At any time, the board can recall any chemical that is being used in St. Lucia.
All right. The week of activities, I know we began, we are midway. Give us a rundown from Monday.
We have 3 major activities for Pesticide Awareness Week. As you know, the board is an integrated board. We have members from different stakeholders in St. Lucia. Health, for example, customs and so on. Now, Department of Health, Environmental Health, they have what is called a rat trap competition for kids. This activity is ongoing. As a matter of fact, judging is supposed to start today, where kids being innovative, they design traps for rats. So yes, we're supposed to have the judging today. Also, in Region 3, Mabuya Valley Denver area, we have a consultation this afternoon at 3 o'clock, where we believe, well, Region 3 is an area where lots of pesticides are being used. You have a lot of farmers. And it's very important that we show these farmers the proper way, raise awareness about pesticide, because pesticides people tend to use pesticides without reading the labels, without having the proper protective clothing. And these things are causing problems out there. So we'll go to Region 3 and we'll have a medical doctor who is going to educate the community about the effects of pesticides on the body.
Okay.
And today here we are having Agriculture on the Move. We have the program both in Creole, on TV, and on radio. These are the 3 major activities planned for Pesticide Awareness Week.
But zeroing in on the week itself, throughout the year, do you all go out there and create awareness? Do you all work with the farmers, farmer groups, the schools, to educate them on the safe use of pesticides?
Yes, that is being done. The research department, we have the inspector, Mr. Elliott, and Miss Laura Francis. They go out there, they go to the schools, they visit all the regions, and they have programs relating to pesticide use and safety.
Okay. In terms of now, when we talk about pesticides, we're now discussing agricultural pesticides, okay? But there are other pesticides that are used, the aerosols in your homes. Tell me, or tell the viewers exactly what are the safety ways of using those aerosols. Because some of these aerosols, they smell very sweet, all right? And then they believe that they can spray and still stay in the room after it is sprayed. Tell me a little more about that.
Well, as I said, the process starts with registration of whatever aerosol that you have. Yes, it's approved for use. Now it's your duty of care to make sure that that pesticide, you read the label, you know all the harmful effects of that chemical on your body, and then you have to take all the mitigation measures. There are persons who, not aerosols alone, there are persons who, farmers, who mix pesticides with their hands.
Yeah.
This is happening out there. There are persons there, the knapsack sprayer is defective. They go ahead, they put it on the back, the chemical is leaking, and they've been soaked with the chemical. So if you're going to apply aerosols for mosquito, yes, you have to make sure that you're not in whatever room that you're going to apply that, because it's a chemical, it can get through your body by inhaling the substance. So definitely you have to be out of there.
Especially babies and young children.
Yeah, they are elderly, they are more susceptible to chemical than
right.
Yeah.
Now, the other form of insecticide control is the beets. You have rat beets, you have roach beets and stuff like this. How should the householder, carry out these activities safely?
Well, first of all, you have to make sure that whatever product that you're going to put around your home, that the kids will not be able to get
access to it.
Also, your pets, there are persons, they cherish their pets a lot. You have to make sure that your pets will not go and tamper with whatever chemical and they're going to lose your understand? And on mornings, you have to do continuous monitoring of whatever substance that you have in your house, because your safety is very important. That is the key for using pesticide. That's why we are here pushing pesticide use and safety.
Yeah, but to me, honestly, I'm not hearing. All you see on television is the advert of a new product, okay? But the actual side effects, how it's supposed to be used, I mean, honestly, to me, that has not been done, enough as far as I'm concerned.
As I said, it's your duty to make sure that whatever you're going to use is safe for you.
Okay.
Every pesticide has a label. You have to make sure that you read the label properly.
Yeah, okay.
If you cannot, seek the advice of an extension officer. If you have children at your home who can read, make sure that they read the pesticide label for you.
On that point, we're due for another break. Stay tuned.
What's in the food you're eating? Do you really even know? All the chemicals and hormones used to accelerate their growth. All the artificial flavoring, sweeteners and colors too. We consume and we don't spare a thought for the damage that they'll do. No, think about the children. Think about the children. How will we save them? Chemicals and chemicals are not the solution. Use organic and join. Excessive agrochemical use, additives, and genetically modified foods are harmful to health and the environment. Join the good food revolution. Grow, buy, and consume organic. A message from Rise St. Lucia and the Ministry of Sustainable Development with funding from the GEF Small Grants Program, UNDP. The Good Food Revolution.
Welcome back. Cletus, we talk about food safety. We talk about reduce the dependency on pesticides, especially those harsh pesticides. We talk about IPM. We also talk about organic pesticides. I know there are a few around. I mean, a lot of people don't know, and these are the things that we should be educating persons on a regular basis, especially backyard garden users. You have garlic barrier, and you have neem. People don't know that you can actually take what they call it, garlic, and crush it, and you can also put hot pepper in it and spray your lettuce. Spray. If they have your caterpillars and stuff, and then you immediately after you can take a leaf and consume it. Tell us a little more about this.
Well, biological pesticides are coming to the fore because we have realized that most of the other chemicals that we have, they are harmful to the human body.
Yeah, because they are harsh.
Also, yes. Also, we've seen a proliferation of what you call softer chemicals, chemicals whereby the application rate is much lower than what we used to use before. And also, in terms of environmental effect, it's less harmful to the environment. So these are some of the chemicals that you're pushing. There are also homemade pesticides. Persons, as you said, can innovate. Take, for example, neem. We have neem all around the place. You can have your own pesticide made out of neem.
Right.
You can use garlic. These are also on the market. You have what is called numectin. Numectin is a biological insecticide. So you have bacillus. Bacillus is a bacteria from the soil. They use that bacteria to make Bacillus thuringiensis. That is an insecticide for especially where you have insect larvae affecting your plants and so on. So, as I said, yes, we're trying to push biological pesticide or homemade pesticides. If it's safer for you, there is no need that we should run away.
But I had this, there's a problem. It's very scary, and two things happen here. One, you have the chemicals are very expensive, especially the harsh chemicals. Farmers will buy it and they believe, boy, look, if they can reduce on the dosage, they can save money, and the effect of that. Yeah. Some of those farmers also, they use higher dosage because they want to see immediate effect. Okay, but then added to that, they harvest the crops earlier than is expected, as is told by the label on that chemical. And of course, the problem with your food safety.
Yeah. Well, pesticide residues, that is very important for us in the agriculture department. There's a harvesting interval. Whenever you use the pesticide, there's a harvesting interval. So farmers, as I said, it's a duty of care. If you're going to use pesticide, you have to adhere to all the requirements. It makes no sense that you compromise food security of the nation. Yes, we agree that you have to make money, but not because you spray and you want the money. CFL call you have to harvest spraying yesterday.
2 days after.
Two days after you have to use the pesticide. Pesticides also is not the pesticide alone that is important for us. Also the disposal of pesticides seem to be causing a problem also. If you go on the farms, all the pesticide containers, they just littering around the place. So pesticide container, apart from the pesticide container is also a serious problem for us.
There's also pretty last in here, because the farmer would spray, all right, and of course he's waiting for his 14 or days before he harvests. 2 days after he spray, right, the guys pass because they're not waiting for the gestation period of the crop. They would harvest, early. For example, sweet pepper. So you see a nice sweet pepper, and then the guy is selling it fairly cheap. But that's your death sentence, eh? Because that is laced with chemicals. So the thing is that we have to tell people, do not buy, vegetables from persons that you don't know whether they are farms or not.
Yeah, they should be registered. It's only registered farmers should be selling products.
Exactly.
As a matter of fact, the predial licensing officers, I think they have a right to stop any, do monitoring, check any vehicle if you see vegetables on board.
And that is serious, because sometimes you talk about people have, they have cancers, they have other illnesses, and they don't know where to get it from. But it's a deal, a quick deal you get. Sweet pepper is being sold at $15 a pound. A guy's giving to you for $2. It's a deal. But then the thing is laced with chemicals, comrade. And so this is the things that we have to ensure. The other thing is I need you to speak to is putting chemicals in other bottles, other containers that are labeled. For example, you have a Coke bottle, and then you put in another a dark chemical in that container, and a child who don't know, if you're careless, what can happen?
Yes, you can. The child can consume whatever.
So tell the public exactly how to store, how to do it, not to put it or put it in label containers.
Well, pesticides, you have different formulations. You have liquid, you have granules, you have pellets, and so on. So basically, formulations are stored, chemicals are stored based on the formulation.
All right.
If you have a liquid pesticide, there is no need that you will put it out there so that the heat is being degenerated by heat and so on.
Okay.
If you have pellets, there is no need that you store it outside where it's getting wet. So all pesticides, as I said, on the label, it have all the information about storage. Make sure that the place that you store in the pesticide, the place is well ventilated. You use pallets and so on. Make sure that when you enter in buildings with pesticide, you wear a mask, respirator, and so on. Okay. And the place is well ventilated.
Okay. The other thing is the question of the washing of the sprayers. Tell us about.
Well, again, we see when we go out there, we see a lot of farmers they use
the rivers,
they rust their pesticide in the containers, in waterways and so on. It's safe to have a pesticide disposal pit on your farm, a place where all the pesticides that you use, that is where you're going to dispose of it. Okay. And also, we recommend triple rinsing of pesticide bottles. When you have the pesticide bottle, especially the gromazone bottle, the glyphosate bottle and so on, you wash it properly, and it's been after you puncture so that person's gonna put water and yes.
Final words from you, sir?
Well, pesticides, the harmful to us, they are harmful to the environment. It's very important that we take precaution as to how we use pesticide. Okay. And the organic chemicals are coming in, we assume, they are less harmful. Organic pesticides, no, let's not fool ourselves. Organic pesticides are also harmful to the environment. So we have to be careful.
But they're less.
Yes, do continuous research on the pesticides when they come in, and make sure that farmers use pesticide safely so that the food that we eat is not compromised by pesticide residues.
Okay, and then you can go back to our own ways, go and flabote the what they call it, caterpillars in our lettuce, eh?
Yes.
Go out at night and dig out flabo. That's the best, that's the safest way. So we do have the use of chemicals, right?
No, well, the use of chemicals, we will not be able to stop the use of chemicals.
Yeah, I'm just saying so.
It's there for, as I said, the herbicides, farmers will not ask somebody to go out there and weed anymore.
Exactly.
Yes. We're going to use herbicides,
but be safe.
But we have to be careful as to how we use it.
Thank you again for being here, comrade. I really enjoyed this, and I hope, St. Lucians, I hope you take note. It's very important. Your health is important. Your food, what you eat, is important. You need to know where you buy your stuff from. Get it from a registered farmer, so you know exactly where you're buying it. Take care of yourself. I'm Philip Sidney saying goodbye.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.